And now, Mike's thoughts. Man Hour Nation, Man Hour Nation, Man Hour Nation. The coaching carousel, the transfer portal, hell, NIL in college football is all completely broken. Once the regular season ends, once this date on the calendar hits, it seems like it's a free-for-all. It seems like coaches get hired, this happens and this happens and this happens, but we totally forget that there is still an NFL playoff to happen. There's still a college semifinal to happen and a college championship still yet to happen. But yet here we are, transferring players, getting new coaches, interviewing coaches, all this other stuff before the season's even over. I'm going to say this as clear as I possibly can. I'm going to say this as clear as day. The NCAA portal, the coaching, hiring, carousel, all that stuff needs to be pushed to the end of the season. Let Joseph Vance worry about getting the Denver Broncos ready to make a Super Bowl run. Let's worry about, Matt Nagy, for example, worry about potentially after the season. Guys, me personally, I think every single coaching change, player change, this, and this, everything that changes needs to happen after the season, after the Super Bowl, after the national championship game. Let things settle down and then start interviewing, then start doing this, then start doing that. Because let's be flat out honest. If this were to happen, things would be pushed back to a week after the Super Bowl. Oh, hell, even the Monday after the Super Bowl. Then, just maybe then, it could be must-see TV. Maybe just then, we could be like really deep diving into this stuff, because right now, you have Mike McDaniels getting fired. You got Jonathan Gannon getting fired. You got John Morton getting fired. Raheem Morris. The list goes on and on and on and on. But yet, we have yet to speak about the Super Wildcard Weekend yet. We haven't talked about that yet. No, sir, we had not talked about that yet. Why? Because these coaches are getting fired to the left. They're getting fired to the right. It is what it is. We all need to stop it. This coaching carousel needs to happen at the end of the season. This transfer portal needs to happen at the end of the season. Until that is fixed, we're going to see collusion. We're going to see tampering. And we're going to see teams or coaches really not giving because they're about the next job. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
What is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here, guys, with Man Hour NFL Talk, your go-to spot for live, raw, uncut NFL talk. I'm so glad you guys are rolling with us today. Rolling with us as Studio C is getting the expansion still built and still extended out there. But guys, before we jump into today's action, guys, head over to manhourradio.com. There's where you find all the exclusive merchandise, check out the freshest blogs, and everything's happening with the Man Hour show. So guys, if you're rocking the Man Hour, guys, there's a spot to do it. Guys, make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, of course, subscribe to never miss a live and after show. That's the easiest way to stay plugged into us. But if you want the full Man Hour experience, guys, become a Big Sim Pundit. That is our members-only community where you get free entry into weekly NFL pick'ems, exclusive merchandise, giveaways, and bonus live streams that only the Big Sim Pundits get. So if you want that next level access, guys, join the squad today. Now remember, this is a live, interactive show, so comment down below. Let your voice be heard, because we all about that conversation, baby. But guys, the NFL landscape right now is shifting. People are, like I said, are getting fired to the left, or getting fired to the right. We don't know if your job is going to, or if your team is going to, or if your team, everybody's getting fired. John Harbaugh was the domino of the fall. Oh, everybody's getting fired. It is what it is, guys. But guys, we're going to dive deep into the Super Wildcard Weekend today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Houston Texans, and of course, a little bit about the Denver Broncos. We got to talk about what's going on in Detroit. We got some cold, hard facts. That's right, cold, hard facts, aka Jordan Love is going to the Super Bowl, baby. And then we got to talk a little bit about the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have had the worst firing of all time, and we're going to dive into that. We got my man goalkeeper Q5B in the chat. It says Texans are going to win the Super Bowl, baby. Hey, that is segment number 3. We're going to talk about your Houston Texans here in about 10 minutes, goalkeeper. But you know what? I think I'm on board with you, brother. I think I'm on board with you. I like where your head is at. I like where your head is at. And then Tim Fitzgerald says, no chance. Why is my chat not popping up? Tim says, no chance. No chance for what, Tim? No chance the Green Bay Packers are going Super Bowl, baby? Or no chance that the Houston Texans are going to win the Super Bowl? That is the question, Tim. That is the question. And think about, man, John Peoples in the chat. John Peoples is the Pigskin Pun of CEOs.
Pigskin Pun. Get you some.
He says Raiders Nation for life. Why is my chat not popping up? That's so weird today. But what is up, John? What is up, Tim? What is up, goalkeeper? What is up, Men Hour Nation, guys? Let's dive into what we kind of already covered this week. But I want to talk about arguably the dumbest firing in this whole coaching carousel. I want to talk about the dumbest firing that we have seen in a long, long time. Out of all the baffling, short-sighted, and just plain dumb moves of so far this 2025 NFL offseason, or 2026 NFL offseason, we should say, the Atlanta Falcons guys simply have taken the crown. They fired their head coach, Raheem Morris. This wasn't some slow-motion decision after disastrous seasons. No, this came just hours after Raheem Morris led the team that was left for dead in November on a 4-game winning streak to close out the year. And then it gets even worse. This wasn't a surgical strike and just to remove a failing coach. It was a full-blown panic mode. This team also fired their general manager. And they're completely cleaning house. We talked about this on Monday. So let me get this straight. The coach who was finally building momentum, fired. The general manager who saddled up the franchise with a nightmare quarterback contract and a baffled strategy was also fired. And the owner, who was also the president over 8 straight losing seasons and a playoff drought stretching back to 2017, is sending out letters telling fans, trust the process? This isn't just a bad firing. This is a textbook example of dysfunction. It's what happens when an owner gets impatient and decides to scapegoat everyone instead of looking in the mirror. Today, guys, we're going to break down how it all went down in Atlanta. And by hitting the reset button was the worst possible move that the Atlanta Falcons franchise that is desperate for some stability could have done. Guys, now, Raheem Morris has had a lot of bad, right? I said it. He should have been fired last season, honestly. But there's been a lot of good from Raheem Morris that has been ignored. Guys, let's start with the part that makes absolutely no sense. Firing of Raheem Morris. He was a perfect coach? Of course not. But the idea he was failing just isn't backed up of what we saw at the end of the 2025 NFL season. After 2 seasons, Morris had coached the team to back-to-back 8-9 records. Is that mediocre? You bet it is. But this franchise that hadn't had a winning season since 2017, the second longest streak drought in the league, from them to go 8-9 wasn't a failure. It was a painful reality of a rebuild. What ownership chose to completely ignore was the context. The Atlanta Falcons had a brutal start to the 2025 NFL season. At one point, guys, they're at 3-7. By any measures, the year looked like a total wash. Matter of fact, everybody here on Man Hour Nation wrote them off. But then something clicked. The team ripped off 4-game winning streak to end the season, and with wins over their bitter rivals in the New Orleans Saints, before they capped the year off with the win over the Panthers. Guys, winning streaks at the end of a losing season tells you everything that you need to know about Raheem Morris. They tell you that the coach hasn't lost a locker room. They tell you that the coach is building momentum. They tell you that the players believed in Raheem Morris. But before that final stretch, they were 1-5 one-score games. They finished the year by winning 4 straight nail-biters. This is literally the definition of learning how to win. It's tangible process. Firing a coach like Raheem Morris is the second that process starts to slow the scoreboard is just terrible management. It sends a message to the rest of the league that stability is a joke in Atlanta and short-term panic is more important than long-term vision. If you are an Atlanta Falcons fan, you should be furious. You were sold on a rebuild, and just as the foundation was being laid, the owner brought in the wrecking ball and says, clean out the closet. Now, if you want to know where this mess really started, you have to look at the guy who was fired right alongside Raheem Morris, the general manager, Terry. This is where the story of the Atlanta Falcons' dysfunction goes from bad to worse. While Raheem Morris was trying to squeeze wins out of the roster that he was given, Terry was the architect of the roster. And his time in Atlanta will be remembered for one of the most confusing and franchise-killing gambles we have seen in a very, very long time. In 2024 season, Terry signed a quarterback by the name of Kirk Cousins to a massive 4-year, $180 million deal. $100 million of that guaranteed. It was the all-in moment meant to make the Atlanta Falcons contenders in the weak NFC South. But then just 1 month later, Terry turned around and used the 8th overall draft pick and selected a quarterback by the Michael Penix Jr. Seriously, what was the plan here? How do you justify giving $100 million to a 36-year-old quarterback from coming off an Achilles injury and then immediately drafting his replacement in the top 10? It was a move that screamed indecision and proved that there was no coherent strategy. It created self-inflicted quarterback controversy from day one. And then 2024, Kirk Cousins struggling, throwing the league-high 16 interceptions before getting benched from Michael Penix Jr. Then in 2025, Penix got the starting job, only to tear his ACL in Week 11, forcing a struggling Kirk Cousins back into the lineup. This entire disaster falls squarely on the front office. The $100 million quarterback that had 1-9 touchdown to interception ratio for his first 5 starts in 2024. The team was stuck with this $40 million cap hit in 2025, which completely handcuffed their ability to build a real team. This wasn't Raheem Morris's fault. He was just a guy stuck trying to manage the impossible situation with when the front office handed him. Owner Arthur Blank's answer was to fire both of them. That's just not justice. This isn't a scapegoat. By firing Raheem Morris, Arthur Blank basically blamed the guy for showing signs of progress on a catastrophic roster building and a quarterback plan doomed from the start. And that's the real mistake. Guys, Raheem Morris is a great coach. Raheem Morris needed more time in Atlanta. Raheem Morris is going to be the man, the myth, the legend at somewhere, whether it's Baltimore, whether it's Arizona, whether it's Miami, whether it's the New York Football Giants. He is going to get a job, and he's going to smack into Arthur Blank's face week after week after week. Man Hour Nation, I have told you that the Atlanta Falcons is the best coaching job out there. Weak division, best roster. But if you were a head coach looking for a job, would you even entertain the idea of the Atlanta Falcons? Guys, that is the question I'm going to ask for you today, Man Hour Nation. So, guys, comment down below. Hit the subscribe button. Remember, we're live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. East Coast time right here at manhournation.com or youtube.com/manhour. Also at manhourradio.com. But that's kind of what I was trying to stay there. Goalkeeper 51. Why is my chat not popping up? So silly. But he says, wait for the Steelers to get smashed. We're going to talk about your Steelers or your Houston Texans Steelers coming up here, man. Harbaugh in Baltimore was also no. Pause, Old Man River. So John is saying that John Harbaugh getting fired in Baltimore is more of a travesty than Raheem Morris getting fired. I told you, Man Hour Nation, Old Man River, Pigskin Pundits.
Pigskin pun. Get you
I told you that John Harbaugh was on the hot seat. This was the year to shit or get off the pot time. Much like Mike Tomlin, much like Zach Taylor, everybody in the AFC North needs to get fired right now. Hacks. That's what needs to happen. Sometimes you need to get released from a bad situation to go to a better situation. Now, I'm not saying Baltimore's a bad situation, but you got complacent. You got, right? John Harbaugh is going to do great things in Las Vegas. John Harbaugh could do great things in Miami. That's probably why Mike McDaniel ultimately got fired. Like, John Harbaugh, pretty nice little toy over there. But Raheem Morris was the second year of a rebuild. The Falcons haven't had a winning season since 2017. What are the Falcons famously known for? Blowing a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl to Tom Brady. They haven't had a winning season since. Think about that. Back-to-back 8-9 seasons. 4-game winning streak to end the season. Wins over the Bucs, the Saints, and the Panthers. Let's go. Come on, that is dumb to fire him. 10th row says, MVP Drake May. Patriots win the Super Bowl. Get ready to back-to-back. Let the hate begin. We're going to talk a lot about the Super Wildcard Weekend tomorrow, but right now let's talk a little bit about the Atlanta Falcons. And Tim just brought it up right here. It says, Falcons haven't recovered since a 28-3. LMAO. Facts. Why is my chat not working? So frustrating, but whatever. Average American Boy says, hi. What's up, Average American Boy? What's up, man? Tim Fitzgerald says, you have Bijan. You have Drake London. You have Kyle Pitts and only win 8 games? That's coaching, my friend. No. That's quarterback play, my friend. When you win 4 games in a row to end the season after starting off 3-7, that's coaching. Bijan didn't come on till what? Well after the 3-7 win. Let's flash back to the 9 game versus the Buffalo Bills, was it? That's when Bijan finally showed up. Drake London's been injured most of the season. Kyle Pitts is average. Kyle Pitts was drafted to be a transcending tight end, but he's been a subpar tight end. Now, I'm not saying Raheem Morris was the perfect answer in Atlanta. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we're going to win a Super Bowl in Atlanta with Raheem Morris. But he was putting the foundation down to build a competitive team in NFC South. Now, if I was a coach, I would love to go to Atlanta because I love me some Bijan. I love me some Kyle Pitts. The only thing, let's just call a spade a spade. The only thing missing in Atlanta is a quarterback. And there's some quarterbacks out there that want out of their current situations. Now, since Mike McDaniel has been fired in Miami, is Tua going to stay in Miami? Who knows? Complete rebuild potentially. Tua to Atlanta. Ooh, very, very nice. Hell, Kyler Murray to Atlanta. Matter of fact, let's flash back to about 3 years ago. I had my man Beastie Combs on, my right-hand man, co-host on this Man Hour Nation. It was like our first year doing this. Beastie is a Chicago Bears fan. And he said that Justin Fields on any other team makes him a Super Bowl caliber team at that particular time. He's like, hey, go to Atlanta, Justin Fields. Go to Atlanta, go to Atlanta, go to Atlanta. Now, he ultimately went to Pittsburgh. But that's a story for another day. But Justin Fields to Atlanta right now makes a lot of sense as well. Maybe with Mike McDaniel as the coach. Who knows? The Falcons are a quarterback away, and that's not coaching. That is general management blunders at its best. Average American Boy says, what's your opinion on the Ravens firing coach John Harbaugh? I think it was a great move. I think firing John Harbaugh was a very, very good move. Sometimes you just got to take a step back to take a step forward, right? You got to remove yourself from a bad situation. I believe I am listening. So my goal for this year is to listen to an audiobook every month for the year, right? I'm listening to a audiobook called Choose Your Enemies Wiser. Choose Your Enemies Wisely. I forget who writes it. It's some Iranian guy. Really thick accent, but it's a decent book. I'm not saying it's a bestseller by any stretch of the imagination, but one of the quotes that has stuck with me from this book was a bad day for the ego is good for the soul. Right? So by the firing of John Harbaugh, sucks for John Harbaugh. Sucks that the Baltimore Ravens have lost their 10-year coach, right? 18, 19 years in Baltimore. It sucks that they have to rebuild everything from the ground up. But taking a step back means finally they can take a step forward. Maybe finally Lamar Jackson will talk to his head coach. Maybe Lamar Jackson won't stop faking injuries. Maybe. But then Tim says, hold your boy, babe. Harbaugh has won one Super Bowl in 18 years. Enough said. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm saying that he needed to see some other pastures, right? Sometimes you get a little complacency. Packers fan, Iowa 2151 says, go Pack, go baby. Packers fan from Iowa on Cold Hard Facts, because today is Cold Hard Facts Wednesday on a Thursday. We've talked about your Packers. We are going to be talking about your Packers. Average American Boy says there's two before drafting a quarterback right after signing Kirk Cousins. That is exactly facts. That is 100% facts. Now, I'm not saying Michael Penix Jr. is going to be a terrible quarterback in the NFL. He wasn't worthy of a first-round draft pick. He wasn't worthy of a top 10 draft pick. He wasn't worthy to compete with Kirk Cousins after signing a 4-year, $180 million deal, $100 million guarantee in the first 2 years. That's tough. Michael Penix Jr. was put in a bad situation. Now you're in a worse situation, come off his third ACL injury, second on the same knee since college. That is tough. Tim says Packers aren't winning. They don't even play they're not even playing the best quarterback on the roster. Tim sounds like my man Shay. Tim sounds like Shay. Because Shay says Malik Willis needs to be a starter in the NFL. Since we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons, we're saying that the Atlanta Falcons are potentially a decent quarterback away from winning the NFC South. Let me ask you this. Does Malik Willis to the Atlanta Falcons, one, make sense? Two, put them over the edge to win the NFC South? That is a question, because if you think Malik Willis is better than Jordan Love, I think Jordan Love's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I think Jordan Love is going to lead the Green Bay Packers to a Super Bowl sooner than later. That tells me that Malik Willis is a top 5 quarterback. That tells me that Malik Willis can go to Atlanta with B. John Robertson, with Drake London, with Kyle Pitts, with a defense that's pretty young and pretty stout. That they could go to the Super Bowl. Not only win the South, not only make the playoffs, win a Super Wildcard game, win a divisional game, NFC Championship game, to the Super Bowl, and then blow a 35-3 lead. We'll see with that. Average American Boy says, I mean, you're looking at the draft quarterback. Don't sign a struggling Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $100 million deal. I agree. But for the record, at the time, Kirk Cousins wasn't struggling. Kirk Cousins in Minnesota was pretty damn good. The one thing I don't like was Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles injury. That was the big, right? Plus being like 34 at the time. That's kind of tough. Tim says it's already been a couple years for Raheem Morris. Look at Ben Johnson and Mike Vrabel. Not even a full year, similar weapons. They also weren't doomed by cap hell, right? They had a competent general manager. Because when you look at the Chicago Bears, 2 years ago, they got all their skill positions. They got DJ Moore. They got Rome. They got DeAndre Swift. Who else did they get up? They picked up Keenan Allen that particular season, right? They were getting all their star pieces together per se. And then this offseason, what did they do? They spent damn near $135 million on offensive line. That's all they did. So Ryan Poles, the general manager for the Chicago Bears, did everything right. Now, flashback we can go over to the New England Patriots. First of all, Mike Vrabel is an incredible coach. Why the Tennessee Titans fired him after 2 or 3 mediocre years after going to the AFC Championship game and losing to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, that is beyond me. But that's the Tennessee Titans for you. But the New England Patriots had all the pieces in order. They drafted linemen a couple years ago, right? Mike Vrabel walked into a pretty good quarterback situation in Drake May. And honestly, Mike Vrabel's plug-and-play offense that he has, it's a great system to fit the 3 running backs that are in New England. Drake May just doesn't have to suck. And what has Drake May done this year? He hasn't sucked. The couple games that he did suck, they kind of got the belt to ass, right? But to be fair, Mike Vrabel is arguably the coach of the year. He probably won't win it. He'll probably be like a Mike McDaniel or trying to think of somebody else that could potentially win it this season. Who else? Cannels from Carolina, right? There's going to be some wild horse but it should be Mike Vrabel. Should be winning of the coach of the year. But Saturday at 7, we shall see the Packers versus the Bears. It's supposed to be snowing too, right? It is supposed to be snowing. American Agile Boy says Ben Johnson's about to be good. 11-6. The Chicago Bears in a whole have done well, right? So Average American Boy, you are new here, but the Man Hour Bible states, "Thou shalt not trust the Chicago Bears until December." Man, but once that calendar rolled over to December, and I believe the Chicago Bears won that first Sunday in December, I'm like, man, I gotta stop buying. I gotta start buying some stock in the Chicago Bears, and that's exactly what we did. Mad Mike 9373 says, "Go Pack, go!" Stick around, Mad Mike. We're gonna talk about your Green Bay Packers coming up here. Stick around. Average Boy says, "My prediction for the Packers versus Bears, 31-24." Slow it down, baby. I think it's gonna be slugfest. We're gonna talk about that more tomorrow. Average American Boy says, "Kirk Cousins, but I do agree your opinion on the quarterback situation," meaning with the Atlanta Falcons. I agree. 6 fourth quarter comebacks for the who? Bears? Packers. Not for right. Super Toot. Well, I wish my chat would pop up. I'm really sorry about that, guys. He says, "Not gonna lie, only 32 teams in the NFL winning a Super Bowl at a decent rate, at a decently ran team ain't that elite when half of the teams make the playoffs." Super Toot. I think you're tooting up there in the old brain cells, buddy. That is what makes that is what makes NFL so great. So first of all, I'm not a huge fan of the 17 playoffs or the 14 team playoffs. I'm not a huge fan of it. Go back to 6, right? Just go back to 6, 2 buys, bada bing, bada boom. I think we'll have a lot better product in the playoffs. However, literally in the NFL, Super Toot, any given Sunday, we saw it with the Atlanta Falcons, the team that we're talking about right now. We saw it with the Atlanta Falcons. They go out and they put that belt to ass versus the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. But then literally the next week, Michael Penix Jr. throws for like 44 yards. Like any given Sunday. That is what's so great about the American football game. Electro Restorations in the chat. What's up, Electro? He says, "Give me the Bears." Slow down, baby. Slow down. Because we got to talk about arguably the most dangerous team in the entire NFL right now. We got to talk about arguably one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now, and that is the one and only Houston Texans. Guys, we have to talk about something that is terrifying the rest of the NFL. And somehow, some way, this does not get talked about enough. Because you guys, the Houston Texans are doing on defense in 2025 is wild. It is counterculture, and honestly, it's flat out dominant. And here's the crazy part. They're doing it by doing less. Guys, there's a chart floating around the league right now measuring defense diversity, personnel groupings, coverage variety, blitz looks, all the stuff that coaches love to brag about. And at the top of the chart, complex defense, multiple looks, kitchen sink playbooks, and at the very bottom, you have the one and only Houston Texans. And it's not even close. They're at the bottom by a very, very large margin. Basically, guys, the Houston Texans said, "Nah, we good." Out of nearly 1,000 defensive snaps, the Houston Texans have played almost every single one of them out of their base or nickel packages. There's 2 packages. That's it. No dime, no consistently subbing, no confusing other teams or confusing of their own players by chance. Offenses know it, and they still can't beat it. And here's a secret that nobody wants to admit. Houston's best 11 are better than your best 11. So why complicate it? Look at the personnel. They have elite corners. They have relentless edge rushers, linebackers that hit like freight trains, safeties that can run silent to silent and take your head clean off. Instead of trying to out-scheme people, the Houston Texans out-execute them. They line up, they punch you in the mouth, they tell you what they're in, and they dare you to win anyways. Guys, do not confuse simple with dumb. Right? About 80% of the Houston Texans snaps are cover 3, cover 4, or cover 1. Old school NFL, old school high school stuff. But here's the difference. They have mastered it. Quarters coverage alone has 1,000 answers built into it. The Texans don't need 10 coverages when they have 10 versions of the same one. No hesitation, no busted assignments, just 11 guys seeing the same thing on the field at the same time. That's what coaches mean when they say to play fast. And film doesn't lie. Guys, watch the Houston Texans on tape, and it looks like they're cheating. Routes are getting squeezed, windows disappears, quarterbacks hesitate for a half a second too long, and then bada bing, bada boom, sack, hit, turnover. They're not guessing, they're not reaching, because when you run the same concept over and over again, you stop thinking about and you just start hunting. And let's just be honest, guys, the Houston Texans are physical. Physicality is their real weapon. And this is the part of the that the analytics can't fully capture. Guys, the Texans hit, and they hit harder than anybody in football. Crossing routes hurt. Checkdowns hurt. Running backs don't want to smoke in the fourth quarter because they're hurt. That's intentional. This defense is built just to stop you. It's built to wear you down. By December and January, that's all that matters, and here's a trade-off. Now, yes, there is a weakness. Houston Texans give up more explosive plays than any other elite defense in the NFL. Because when you're predictable, coverage beaters exist. But that's not the bet. You might hit one big play, but can you survive 12 plays after that without getting your quarterback planted into the turf? Most teams can't. And over a full season, the numbers back it up. This is one of the best passing defense we have seen, and then more in a decade with success rate. Guys, here are the facts. This defense is a modern version of the Legion of Boom mindset. It's simple, it's violent, it's fast, and it's unapologetic. When the rest of the league is chasing complexity, Houston is perfectly clarifying. And that's why when the games get tighter, the weather gets colder, I trust this defense more than most anything else in the NFL. But let me ask you this, Man Our Nation. Would you rather face a defense that is unpredictable or one that tells you exactly what they're coming for and they still shut you down? Guys, subscribe, hit the like button, and remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. East Coast time, right here, youtube.com/manhour. Tim Fitzgerald says the Texans, maybe they show up in their Letterman jackets again. That went well. Average American Boy says they are dangerous, baby. Average American Boy, you are right. They are dangerous because they're going to come downhill. They're going to punch in the mouth over and over and over again. They're going to say, bring that ass here, boy, and smack it down, because that is what they do. But American Average Boy says, if their offense isn't competent enough, though. And that's what's great about the Houston Texans, is that the old saying goes that defense wins championships, and I still think that's true to the day. Yes, you need a little bit more offense to really mean we're not going to see the 2000 Baltimore Ravens again, where Trent Dilfer didn't score a touchdown for 5 straight weeks or whatever it was. We're not going to see that ever again. But defense still wins championship, and C.J. Stroud is a very capable quarterback of putting up a touchdown or two every game. When they play the Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday afternoon, it's the first one to 12 points. Whoever scores 12 points is going to win that game. And I like C.J. Stroud scoring 12 points faster than Aaron Rodgers. That's just what it is. Tim Fitzgerald says Texans are good. Did they win their division? They did not win their division. The Houston Texans did not win their division because they got a pretty damn good team right now in the Jacksonville Jaguars in their division. Now, I'm not saying the Houston Texans are a Super Bowl team. I do like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like the Jacksonville Jaguars winning this week, winning next week, and potentially winning the AFC Championship game. But we'll get more on that tomorrow. We'll get in more in that tomorrow. But they have no competition. says average American boy. I mean, they don't have no competition. I'm confused. So you're saying that the Houston Texans haven't played anybody this season? Are you telling me that the Houston Texans haven't played the Denver Broncos, the first seed in the AFC? Are you telling me they haven't played the Kansas City Chiefs, the best team in the NFL still, despite their 6-11 record? Are you telling me they did not beat down the LA Chargers a couple weeks ago? Come on, man. They have played people. They played the Jaguars. They played the Colts, right? When the Colts were still relevant-ish. Tim says, Texans don't scare me at all. Would love for them to come to Foxborough so we can wax that ass, baby. Careful what you wish for, brother. Careful what you wish for. But, Tim, I'm going to give you a spoiler alert for tomorrow. The New England Patriots might be one and done. The New England Patriots may not even make it past the LA Chargers, Tim. So tune in tomorrow when we talk about that. There's going to be a lot of upset Americans out there. American average boy. My man Carson Lang's a pigskin pundit.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Carson Lang says Texans are just doing what the Bills did last year, mostly nickel D. Carson, you are absolutely right. However, they're doing it better than the Buffalo Bills. They're doing everything better than the Buffalo Bills. They have better quarterback play than Buffalo Bills. They have better defense than Buffalo Bills. They have a better running game than Buffalo Bills. They have better coaching than Buffalo Bills. They have a better offensive line than Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills are average at best. At best. Come on now. American Average Boy says, I love to see the Texans-Patriots matchup. I think a lot of us would. I think a lot of us would like to see a Patriots, Houston Texans, AFC Championship game. That would be tough. American Average Boy says, I'm a mutual fan of the NFL. I don't have a favorite NFL team, but I love the NFL. Well, Average American Boy, you came to the right spot. Because this is live, this is raw, this is uncut NFL talk, and I tell it how it is. I'm going to tell you that the Buffalo Bills suck. I'm going to tell you that Drake May is a little bit overrated. I'm going to tell you that Bo Nix is exactly what he is. He's a game-managing quarterback with below-average stats with a great defense. That's what we do here. What is that? I can't read that. I don't know your name, bud. But a football NFL, then why do you play with the damn hands? What are you even talking about? I don't know. The dude's name's like an Arabic or something. Football NFL, then why are you playing with the damn hands? Because it's not soccer. The Chiefs fell off. The Chiefs didn't fall off. The Chiefs just needed a break, baby. American Average Boy, the Chiefs just needed a break. We got tired of winning. We got tired of all the Buffalo Bills saying, oh, Josh Allen can't win the big game. We gave you an opportunity. We gave an opportunity for Trevor Lawrence nose to finally smell the fresh air. It is what it is. Tim Fitzgerald says, no way. Patriots will win big on Sunday night. Stay tuned tomorrow, man. We're going to break it down. We're going to break it down. Average American Boy says, I love people who tell like it is. That's who I am, buddy. That's who it is. That's who I am. Welcome to Man Hour Nation, buddy. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a live interactive show. Carson Lang says, how the F are you going to say they have a better running back than the Buffalo Bills? James Cook won the rushing title. Get off that shit you're smoking, Buck. Carson. Just because a person's... Bring a little closer here. I'm in my bedroom because Studio C is getting the expansion built. Not quite done yet. So I got to keep it kind of low-key. Wife and the boys are out there. Just because the numbers say you are the best. Just because the numbers say that you have this rushing title. It doesn't mean shit, Carson. It doesn't mean shit. Just because Patrick Mahomes did not have the most passing yards in the NFL the last 3 seasons. Just because Patrick Mahomes doesn't have multiple MVPs under his belt the last couple seasons. That doesn't mean he's not the best. That doesn't mean he's not the greatest quarterback of all time. Just because old Matthew Stafford has thrown for 4,500 plus yards this season. Just because Devontae Adams alone has 16 touchdowns this season. Doesn't mean he's the league MVP. Doesn't mean he's the best. Come on now. Numbers lie to you, Carson. You've been my boy long enough that you know numbers lie. Just because you hit a 600 batting average in slow pitch softball doesn't mean you're very good. No. That just means that you're like you're playing correct softball and blooping over the second baseman's head because she's a girl, a fat girl. Tim says the Chargers will not come into Foxborough on Sunday night and win. Ain't no way. Drake May is going to show all y'all that we have the real deal for the next decade. We going to talk about that, Tim. We going to talk about that because my man's Bruin Pride has been up at the bits. The Drake May. Average American Boy says Josh Allen got a playoffs without Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. However, he's got Trevor Lawrence, he's got Bo Nix, he's got Justin Herbert, he's got a little C.J. Stroud. Let's not forget about the really GOAT Aaron Rodgers. Come on, it's not going to be easy. Still not going to be easy, and Tim says they're still not going to win. Average American Boy says, don't get ahead of yourself. It can always be a fluke. I don't know what you're talking about there, Bob. Carson says, oh, and on a side note, second-year running back Ray Davis had 30-yard kickoff return average. Who doesn't have a 30-yard return average? Everybody that gets is going at least 32. Come on, man. Tim says, poor Buffalo Bills fans. I feel for them. Going to be watching Drake May win while Josh Allen washes again. Not wrong. But on the other team that's kind of a lot of people are sleeping on, a lot of people that are hating, that's the one and only Denver Broncos. Guys, we talked about the Houston Texans being a great defense, but let's talk about the most violent, the most aggressive, and the most intentionally built defense in football right now, because that's what the Denver Broncos are exactly doing the 2025 NFL season. And it's not by accident. It's not trendy, and it's definitely not subtle. This is pressure football perfected. Guys, there are defensive coordinators who talk about aggression, and then there's Vance Joseph. If you've been living since 2016, for nearly a decade of play calling, Vance Joseph has been the man, the myth, the legend. 9 straight seasons blitzing at least 30% of dropbacks. Top 5 in blitz rate for 8 of those seasons. While the rest of the league zigs toward tight boxes and simulated pressures, Denver kept saying the same thing. We coming for you. We coming for you again. And oh, by the way, good luck. Guys, this just did not happen overnight. Let's not try to rewrite history. When Vance Joseph joined Sean Payton back in 2023, this defense was rough. Bottom of the league in the EPA, bottom of the league in points per drive, and then came the game everyone remembers. 70 points. Miami embarrassed Denver Broncos so badly people thought Vance Joseph was done before October. And that's when the conversation changed. Joseph told Payton, essentially, let me be me. And Sean Payton listened. That decision changed everything. This isn't reckless blitzing anymore. This is calculated violence. Denver has leaned into man coverage because they can. Patrick Surtain II gives you a cheat code. Riley Moss grew into a legitimate cornerback too. And Jawan McMillan became a weapon inside. Denver went from average man usage to top 3 in the NFL. And here's a kicker. They allowed 4.4 yards per play in man coverage this season. That is absurdly effective with heavy usage. That's not surviving in man coverage, that's simply dominating it. Then Vance Joseph had this philosophy shift. Joseph just didn't double down, he evolved. Instead of calling straight man everywhere, Denver lives in what he calls a box and one concept. One defender locked on the biggest threat while everyone matches up, rules help built in. And that's how you get defenders to play fast. They are responsible for one side of the route, not everything. Less thinking, more attacking. That's great defense. And here's why the Denver separates himself. They don't blitz just to pressure. They blitz to create sacks. Unblocked sacks, cleanup sacks, pocket collapsing sacks. Sacks on sacks on sacks. Denver's finished with 10.3% of 10.3% of opponents' dropbacks ended in a sack. That's 1 out of every 10. That is historic territory. And it's just not who's blitzing, it's how the rush works together. Edge forcing quarterbacks up, interior pushing in and collapsing up collapsing the pocket. There's no escape lanes. This defense doesn't just chase quarterbacks, it collapses them. This is the most underrated part about the entire Denver Broncos defense. The Denver rushes at a unit, covers as a unit, and finishes as a unit. This blitz makes coverages easier, and the coverage makes blitzes hit home. That synergy is why the Denver Broncos just aren't flashy, they're sustainable. And yes, Sean Payton deserves credit here as well. The team made the playoffs last season. They're back on track, and this defensive identity is finally crystal clear. Guys, here is the truth. I hate the Denver Broncos. But the truth is, while other defenses are trying to confuse quarterbacks, the Denver Broncos is trying to break them. This is old school pressure married to modern day coverage rules. And when it clicks like this, it is terrifying. If you don't have elite protection, elite processing, and elite discipline, this defense will end your drive violently and quickly. So let me ask you this, Man Our Nation. Would you rather face a defense that disguises everything or one that lines up and punches you in the mouth and dares you to survive? Subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. East Coast time right here, youtube.com/Man Hour. Now, this is a live internet show, so comment down below. Average American Boy says, Drake, May. Come on, man. The Bills also have the weakest team he's had, but they got playoff game. Not wrong. Average American Boy says the Denver Broncos defense laying that belt to ass, baby. As they do lay that belt to ass week after week after week. Their offense sucks. Their offense just isn't that good. It would not shock me one bit if the Denver Broncos are one and done. Whether they play the Houston Texans next week, whether they play the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Chargers or who is the 6th seed? The Buffalo Bills. They could very well possibly could be a one and done. And that's exactly what Old Man River says. Denver will be a one and done.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Old Man River is a Las Vegas Raiders fan, so let's just take that into consideration a little bit. But yes, I do concur that they will probably be a one and done. But we'll talk about that on Divisional Weekend. Average American Boy says, I'd rather have a good defense who's in your face telling you about your get to whooped. And honestly, that's the type of so I am a defensive coordinator here at the high school level, and that's the type of defense I want. I want to walk up and show the blitz, say, I'm coming right there. I'm going to punch you in the mouth over and over and over again. Beat me if you can. Oh, by the way, you can't because I'm coming, baby. That's just what it is. That is just what it is, baby. That's not panic or pace. It's time, guys. It's time for a little thing we have to call cold, hard facts.
No sugar, no spice, no sweet disguise. The truth is a blade that cuts through lies. No fluff, no frills, just a raw steel bite. Cold hard facts, they don't play nice. Sharp as ice, no need to think twice. Cold hard facts, they hit, they slice. All truth, no fluff, no dice.
Alrighty, Man Our Nation. It's time for cold, hard facts. If you've not seen this segment before, guys, here's how it works. I'm going to lay down some straight facts. No fluff, no sugarcoat, just real, undeniable truth that's about to go around in the NFL world. We're talking about the cold, hard facts, guys. We're cutting through all the noise and getting what is truth, what is happening, and what is for real. No room for debate here, guys. Let's go to all the facts you can take to the brain. So buckle up, because we're about to drop some knowledge. No overreaction, no exaggeration, pure, cold, hard facts.
Facts, they don't play nice. Sharp as ice, no need to think twice. Cold hard facts, they hit, they slice. All truth, no fluff, no dice.
Alrighty, guys. So the first cold, hard facts of the night is coming very, very simple, guys. Jordan Love is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and he's about to lead the Green Bay Packers to the Super Bowl. Guys, that's right. I am here, and I'm saying it with my chest. And the history, the tape, and the numbers all line it up. Guys, Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers are going to the Super Bowl. Guys, let me start with something that you should stop you in your tracks. Do a little head scratching knowledge here, right? Brett Favre won his only Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers at 27 years old in his 6th NFL season. Aaron Rodgers, same thing. 27-year-old, sixth season with the Green Bay Packers Super Bowl ring. And guess what, guys? Jordan Love is 27 years old, and guess how many seasons he has played? 6. 3 as a starter, 3 as a backup to the great Aaron Rodgers. If you don't believe in coincidence, fine. But the Green Bay Packers have done this twice already, and now Love is standing in the exact same sweet spot. This is where the top 5 conversation becomes real, because in 2025, Jordan Love threw for 23 touchdowns in just 15 games. Just 6 interceptions, that's a career low. Ranked top 10 in passer rating among qualified quarterbacks, top 10 in touchdown percentage, and top 10 in touchdown to interception ratio. A top 10 in completion of completions of 25 plus yards, 8 games with 100 plus yard passer rating. And here's the killer stat. Guys, the Green Bay Packers are 7-0-1 in those games. That's not luck. This is elite quarterback play. Matt LaFleur even said it himself late in the season. He has taken this game to another level. People forget. So let me remind you this. Favre's first 3 years as a starter, 3 straight 9-7 seasons. More interceptions than touchdowns early on. Playoff losses, growing pains. Aaron Rodgers, 6-10 in his first year as a starter. Couldn't close close games. Still learning how to command the offense. But once both guys clean up the mistakes, boom! MVP, Super Bowl runs, legends were born. Jordan Love is right there, baby. Up and down early, but year 3, he's cut his interceptions almost in half. He stopped forcing throws. He started commanding games. That's a jump. That's the momentum that Mike Holmgren that talked about when the quarterbacks finally say, I get it. Turn on the tape, guys. Jordan Love is doing things veteran quarterbacks struggle with. Standing in the pocket under pressure, throwing with anticipation, manipulating safeties, making big-time throws late in games. Micah Parsons even said this. He's doing things guys aren't doing in year 9 and 10. That's not hype. That's respect from elite defenders and elite players. And do not forget, guys, Jordan Love is doing his thing with a roster that's been wrecked by injuries. 15 players on IR. Key starters gone. And yet he still carried them into the playoffs again. Jordan Love has now led the Green Bay Packers to the playoffs 3 straight seasons as a starter. He's more confident, he's more composed, and he's more dangerous. Just like Favre, just like Rodgers, this feels like the year is all coming together. Green Bay Packers don't accidentally do this. They don't stumble into elite quarterback play. They develop it. Guys, and the cold hard fact is this. Jordan Love is already a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and the Packers Super Bowl window is wide open right now, and they're going to the moon, baby. They're going to the moon. Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl bound in 2026. Take that to the bank. We out.